This is the story of the bench that became the bank. Picture a busy market square in medieval Italy. Merchants everywhere, coins from a dozen different cities changing hands, and sitting at a simple wooden bench is a man whose whole job is money. He weighs it, tests it, trades one city's coins for another's. The Italian word for that bench was banca. That is where our word bank comes from. Not a marble building with tall columns, a bench. But the idea is much older than that. Go back 4,000 years to the temples of ancient Mesopotamia. These temples were the safest, strongest buildings around, so people started leaving their grain and silver there for safekeeping. The priests wrote down who owned what, and soon they were doing something new. They lent that grain out to farmers and asked for a little extra back at harvest. That little extra was interest. The first loans in history were handed out from a temple. These rules got so common that they were carved into stone. The famous Code of Hammurabi, almost 4,000 years old, already spelled out how much interest a lender was allowed to charge. We have been arguing about interest rates for a very, very long time. The Greeks and Romans took it further with professional money changers who took deposits and made loans. But when Rome fell, most of this quietly disappeared for centuries. It came roaring back in Italy, and this is where that bench really matters. If a money changer ran out of money and could not pay people back, an angry crowd would come and break his bench in two. The Italian words for a broken bench were banca rota. Say that out loud. That is where we get the word bankrupt. The most powerful of these Italian bankers were the Medici family in Florence. They did more than hold coins. They found clever ways to move money across Europe instead of dragging a chest of gold down roads full of bandits. A merchant could hand his gold to the Medici in one city and collect it from their office in another, using nothing but a signed piece of paper. Money could now travel as ink. There was one big problem, the church said. Charging interest was a sin. Making money from lending money was banned. So bankers got creative. They hid the interest inside exchange rates and fees, and called it anything except what it was. Banking grew up, learning how to bend the rules. Now jump ahead to London in the 1600s. People wanted somewhere safe to keep their gold, so they left it with goldsmiths who had strong vaults. In return, the goldsmith gave you a paper receipt. It said, "Whoever holds this can claim this much gold." Then something clever happened. People realized they could simply hand over the receipt instead of going to fetch the actual gold. The paper started getting passed around like money. That receipt was, more or less, the first banknote. And the goldsmiths noticed something too on any normal day. Only a few people came to collect their gold. Most of it just sat in the vault. So the goldsmiths started lending that gold out gold that belonged to other people and charging interest on it. They were lending money they did not really have. It worked, as long as everyone did not show up for their gold on the same day. That single idea still runs every bank in the world today. Then, governments wanted in. In 1694, the Bank of England was created, and paper money became official and trusted. The bench had become an institution. So next time you tap your card or check your balance on your phone, remember where all of this began. Not in a glass tower, in a temple. In a market square, on a plain wooden bench, and in a paper receipt for a pile of gold that half the time was not even there.